Hello, how are you? In this video we will see what is the most asshole thing your cat has ever done. Welcome to the question answer channel, the channel where you will find the answer to everything. Today Kelly Larson, Elise Myers, Caitlin Kane and Jessica Storm are going to present their answers to us. Let's see Kelly Larson's first answer.
It was epic. I grew up with an abusive stepfather who beat my mom, my brother, and terrorized us girls. I had a old tomcat whose name was Gray Cat. Guess what color he was? One day, after a long drunken night of abuse by my stepfather, he had us on mandatory labor. I was 12, out in the front yard. Gray Cat walked up to him, eyed my stepfather up and down, turned around, lifted his tail, and sprayed urine up and down my stepfather's legs and walked away twitching his tail in what could be construed as disgust. I loved my Gray Cat. Like I said, it was the most epic asshole thing I've ever seen a cat do.
What do you think? We will continue with Elise Myers' answer.
I hated cats. Last summer, my wife and I started feeding a stray cat who had been dumped by his previous owner. I had always hated cats, but little by little he started softening my heart to the point where we contemplated bringing him in. He was the most handsome cat I had ever seen. He had a black outline around his eyes and we always joked that he looked like he had eyeliner on. I freaking loved this cat. Who would have ever thought? By fall we had been bringing him in for a few hours out of the day. My goal was to bring him in permanently Christmas morning. One fateful October day he was hit by a car and died immediately. I was devastated and cried for weeks. I vowed to never love another. Rip Dobby. Fast forward to mid-December. My wife announced that she wanted to get me a kitten for Christmas. I wasn't sure if I could ever love another cat, but I was excited nonetheless. I naturally went to the local shelter to begin my search. I asked the attendant if I could just sit on the floor and open a few cages. She obliged. By the third set of cages that had been opened, none of the cats piqued my interest. We had 4 more cages to go. She opened the last set and one small cat walked over to me and immediately climbed in my lap. He nuzzled my chin, curled up, and fell asleep. I found the one. I paid the adoption fee and the shelter loaded me up with all kinds of goodies. I named him Remus. If you haven't figured it out, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. When we finally got home that evening, we worked on getting Remus introduced to our 2 dogs. The 3 of them hit it off pretty well. Remus was rambunctious and a night owl. Took some getting used to. We noticed shortly after bringing him home that he loved shredding toilet paper. Ugh, this stuff is not cheap. So we decided, from now on, we will keep the bathroom door closed if we are not in there. This habit took some getting used to, since we never had to do this before. For months, Remus would catch us slipping and destroy yet another roll of toilet paper. This one particular evening, I walked into the hallway and realized. I left the bathroom door open again. I flicked on the light and yelled out Remus' name. This is what I saw. Completely unbothered and looked slightly annoyed that I interrupted him. Toilet paper 0. Remus 1. Update August 27, 17. Remus has struck again.
We continue with Caitlin Kane's answer.
I used to have an iPad. I only just recently gave it away to my niece. When I had it, I used it for everything, including my alarm clock. A couple of mornings I woke up late because the alarm didn't go off. For some reason, the battery on the iPad, which I always made sure was charged the night before, was dead. I thought there was something wrong with the pad or maybe the charge cord. I was thinking I would have to buy another, but the problem seemed to be intermittent, so I wasn't sure. Then one night I woke up to light. And to Sam, my oldest cat, right in front of my face on the nightstand. He was sitting on the iPad looking at the light around his butt. After a few seconds it went out. When it did, he stood up and stomped around until he managed to press the power button again and the screen lit back up. Then he promptly sat and looked around at his behind again in fascination. He did this a couple of more times before I finally took it away from him and slid it onto a lower shelf, worried he'd scratch the screen. That's when it dawned on me this is what was happening to my battery on the morning my alarm didn't go off and I was late for work. He'd spend the whole night lighting up his bum until the thing finally ran out of power. So not only was he being an asshole, he was a brightly lit asshole.
We continue with Jessica Storm's answer.
She chose me. She chose me so hard. She chose me when I absolutely did not need or want a cat. She was hanging around my place all the time. Always laying on my porch. Always trying to slide inside when I was carrying in groceries. And she got in many times. And I put her back out. Over and over and over. Then it happened. It was a beautiful sunny morning. I was super cozy in my comfy bed. I turned my head to look out the window and see how far up the sun was. And I got a face full of cat fur. I turned my head the other way. Cat fur. She broke into my house. She got into my bed. She decided to sleep on my pillow, while wrapped around my head. Try waking up like that when you don't have any pets. I looked at her like WTF? She looked at me like good morning sunshine. Long story short, we eventually adopted her. It's not like we could keep her out anyway.
This is the end of the video. Thank you for staying until the end. Remember to subscribe if you like the video. The likes also help a lot for referencing, you know what you have to do. This is now the end of this video. Remember to leave a comment to tell us if these answers resonate with you. Bye and see you soon.